Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Steidten has finally spoken. This is good news. I've been looking forward to hearing from him, quite frankly. Now, as you will know if you're a regular watcher, I like to read quite a lot into what people say. It doesn't matter as much when people say loads and loads of words. They just give you the information themselves. But when there's very little to go on, it's good to hear from people. There's not a lot being said here, but it's the first time he's spoken that I can think of to the press, and I think it's Sky Germany. I'll double check for you in just a second. I think it's the first time he's spoken, I think really about his role and any part in it since he joined West Ham. I sort of get it. You know, if you're the director of football, you're not really the main man. I think if you sort of open your mouth, then you could be seen to be perhaps, I don't know, sort of trying to overshadow the head coach. As we know, we've got this strange dynamic at West Ham. Gio alluded to it in last night's video. We've got this strange dynamic where we don't really have a head coach. We have an old-fashioned football manager who, as we know, has sort of tried to style himself in the sort of form of Sir Alex Ferguson, albeit without the youngsters. But that's his mentor. That's the guy he looks up to. There was no surprise that Sir Alex Ferguson handpicked David Moyes to be his successor. But that's very much the old style football manager, isn't it? That's the guy that runs the whole club. So I sort of understand it. If you're Tim Steidten, you're probably thinking maybe on the continent you'd probably say a little bit more. At West Ham, you're probably buttoning it and you're staying stum because not only does the manager not really consider himself to be a head coach, but also you've got a chairman who's got quite a lot to say as well. So you're sort of flying under the radar a little bit. Let me tell you what he said, and then we'll sort of go into it a little bit. He was speaking to Sky Sports Germany, and he said, "I am very happy that Dortmund may have been a bit slow, and I had the chance to get him." Now, he was talking about Edson Alvarez. I'm really pleased he was talking about Edson Alvarez. He said Edson Alvarez had a very big influence on our game. Now, I'm pleased he said our rather than West Ham. So I think that's quite important. You do read these little bits into it. He said, I've known Alvarez for a very, very long time. He said he's a super important player for us. He's a leader. He's an absolute leadership figure. He is top. And, I mean, well, that's it. That's it. Unless something more comes to light that I don't know about, that is the extent of his words. That's the extent of the quote. Is there a bigger interview? I don't know. We're going to find out a little bit more over the next day or two. If I find anything else, I'll get back to you on that. I like it, and I like it a lot because I think that's him. I think that's him marking his territory. That's basically him urinating on the lamppost. As him marking his territory, as mine. He's telling us now, Alvarez, that's mine. I got him. Not only did I get him, I beat Borussia Dortmund to him. I've known him for a long time. Thereby, he's letting you know. Don't forget all this other stuff about, maybe Mark Noble scouting him, about maybe David Moyes brought him in, maybe that old David Sullivan. He had a look. No, I've known him for a long time. I got him before Dortmund did. He's a popular player. He's a key figure in what us, West Ham, are trying to do, and he's a leader. And he goes on to say, a leader. Let's just get that right, because he said it twice, didn't he? He said he's a leader, an absolute leadership figure. He is top. I mean, there's two stories here. The first one is him, what he's saying about Edson Alvarez, and the second one is just that he's spoken himself. I do wonder if he's done this sort of alluding to what Gio spoke about last night in his video. If you've not seen that, go and check it out, of course. And that is that really he's sort of been overruled a little bit. That maybe David Sullivan didn't show ultimate faith in Tim Steidten in the transfer window. Tim Steidten had a pick in as much as he went and wanted Ibrahim Osman. And David Sullivan said no. Now, obviously, look, there are mitigating circumstances to that. That somebody was negotiating with the wrong agent. Might have been Steidten himself. We just don't know. That maybe there was some skullduggerous business going on behind the scenes. I'm not implicating Steidten in that, by the way. I'm just saying, £7 million worth of agents' fees, and not all of it was going to the same agent, and there were two agents, one of whom wasn't registered to represent him. It just sounds a little bit dodgy, doesn't it, really? So I'm just saying that there may have been more than one reason for it not going through, but I do wonder if Steidten's just sort of puffing his chest out and saying, look at me, I can bring players in. I find it interesting that he's mentioned him and he's not mentioned Mohamed Kudus, but there may be more to this interview. You know how these things go, particularly when there's interviews done in the foreign press. They tend to sort of drip feed these things out over a matter of days. I'd love to hear from the guy. I really, really would. I think for so long now, us as West Ham fans have been sort of scrimping and scraping for any snippet of information that we can get about Steidten. Anything that we could get just to glean a little insight. Is he in charge? Is he second in charge? Are him and Moyes at loggerheads? I don't think they are. I don't think him and Moyes are arguing, by the way. I don't think this whole thing, I've mentioned it on numerous occasions, I dismiss it. Him and Moyes close to coming to blows. I just don't think so. I mean, I think it's also when people say that Tim Steidten, he's about to walk away from West Ham. Every time I hear it, every time I hear that said, it dismisses one thing. One thing is factored out of that statement. Tim Steidten's going to walk away from West Ham. And that's money. Now, don't get me wrong. If he goes and gets hired by Liverpool or something like that, and Liverpool are rumoured to be interested, of course, Liverpool are going to pay him more money than West Ham are. But make no mistake about it. I mean, we are paying him much more than he was earning at Leverkusen. He was it Werder Bremen before that? This is his best job. I'm sorry. I know I say that quite a lot. I said the other day about Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard's time at West Ham was the best time in Jesse Lingard's career. And the other day I said this is the best David Moyes has ever had it. Even at Man United, he never had it so good. So I understand. I have a habit of saying it. I don't think it's true for everybody, okay? But I do look at it, Tim Steidten. I think he's over here now. He's got a chance to prove himself in the Premier League. His profile has gone through the roof. It really has, and he'll be earning a lot of money. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Gonzo, you are looking particularly well groomed today. And let me tell you, those are just the bits that you can see. The reason I'm looking so well groomed is down to this little jobby here. This is the Manscaped Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. I hadn't worked out what the Ultra was, actually. So there I was with my lawnmower. And I didn't realise this bit here, this whole shaver section here, just pops off. And then you put like your regular shaver on. I'll just pop that in there. Done. It's as quick as that. The Lawnmower 5.0 is a miraculous bit of kit. It's waterproof. It's got ceramic blades so you don't cut yourself. You can use this thing to trim yourself up in the shower. If you're wondering why my face is looking so well groomed and perfect, that's because I've been using the Manscaped beard trim. It's brilliant. I've been buying beard trimmers. I haven't wet shaved since, I'll tell you what, 2012. It's a long story. I don't wet shave. I've always used beard trimmers, clearly, for the last 12 years. And these really are the best I've ever used. Anyway, the best thing is we're going to give you an opportunity to get your hands on one. In fact, any of the Manscaped stuff. And now's the right time to do it with Valentine's Day coming up. I don't know whether you should be buying it for your boyfriend, by the way, if you're watching this, or maybe you buy it for yourself to give a treat to your girlfriend for Valentine's Day. I don't know, but we're going to give you 20% off. Use the link below, click on the Manscaped website, and go and fill your basket up with the wonderful Manscaped products. When you get to the checkout, there is like a little discount code box. Just put in there, Hammers Chat, all one word, claim 20% off, and best of all, you get free shipping. Do it now, and you get it in time for Valentine's Day. There has been a lot of hype. There's been a lot of talk. He's had a lot. His social media presence must have been boosted hugely. I mean, what was he? Sort of second in charge of recruitment at Bayer Leverkusen. He was the role just under the technical director. Is that right? So this is his first role as director of football, or technical director, you want to call it that. This is his first time doing a top job. And I mean, he has been hailed. He's been heralded as the Messiah. We were loving it in the summer transfer window. Every time we saw him on his jet, it wasn't his jet, it was a chartered jet. It was a rented jet, not your jet, Tim. You're not earning that much money, mate. But every time we saw him on that jet, we would say, here he is, it's the Messiah. He's brought us another player. The giver of gifts is Tim Steidten. He's got to be loving that. He has to be loving that. I don't think he's, in many respects, in terms of his profile, in terms of his wage, in terms of how much he sort of receives adulation from a fan base, he's probably never had it so good. I doubt he has. However, a little bit of a reality check here. I do think there's a situation whereby he's possibly not getting the full support of the board. And he's got two problems, really. The first one, he's got a manager who's not a head coach, who still fancies himself as the one that likes to choose players. And this is going to be interesting, isn't it? Because I think what we're seeing here from Tim Steidten is him saying, Alvarez is my player. And we certainly know Calvin Phillips is David Moyes'. And I don't want to try and create any sort of friction, particularly not on this channel, between everyone's trying to create friction with someone. I'm not trying to do a head-to-head between Calvin Phillips and Edson Alvarez. I'm really not. I'd be, look, if they're both fit, I'll probably be playing both of them. I'll be dropping Souček. I mean, we've discussed this before anyway. So I'm not trying to create that, but I do wonder if that's quite an interesting dynamic to play out. If that's him, just Tim Steidten say, well, that one was my pick. As I say, marking his territory, piddling on the lamppost, so to speak. So I think he's got a situation there with David Moyes. He's also got a situation with David Sullivan. David Sullivan must be itching to do some business. For years, he would do it. Absolutely. I remember him signing at Birmingham City, chairman of Birmingham City. He signed this player called Christian Benitez. He was from South America. I can't remember who was manager at the time. Manager at the time went mental. He said, I don't want this player. I never asked for this player. And he had to defend himself in public, Sullivan. He said, I just thought I'd take a little punt. I've seen him over in South America. He likes buying players. You may do something different. If we became billionaires, we would all possibly do something different. In fact, I think you'd have to be more than a billionaire now to buy a football club. But whatever, you might move to that place you've always moved to. But you might take up that pursuit, that hobby that you've always wanted to do. You might move your family to the other side of the world. You could do any number of things that we all might do if we had that level of wealth. I think all David Sullivan wants to do is play Football Manager. That's all he wants to do. Is just toy at playing this game, basically. And I think Crystal Palace should have a chairman like that. I think his name was Ron Nodes. I think he even actually appointed himself as manager at one point. I might have that wrong. I'm pretty sure that's the case. And I think this is a problem for Steidten. The fact that he's got this owner ahead of him. So he goes into this transfer committee, and with the exception of Mark Noble, he's probably dealing with two people who probably think they know better than him. This is a little bit difficult. He's going to have to be a diplomat. Yeah, he really is, Steidten is. He's going to have to be a diplomat. He's probably going to have to see a couple of them off. He's going to have to prove his credentials, and that's what he's doing here. Puffing out his chest. He's saying, oi, you, look, this is... I'm the guy. I brought Alvarez in. And what I do like, just finally, before I finish, the whole leadership thing, I like that. I think that's really good. I don't know how good Alvarez's English is. Alvarez speaks even less than Steidten does. So I don't know. But if his English is good, then I'd put him in there. I would agree with what Steidten's saying about leadership. I just don't see these leadership qualities from Kurt Zouma. And I know people say this stuff, oh, you can get different types of captain. Well, you can, but not the best ones. The best ones do tend to be very vocal, don't they? I do understand that you can be David Beckham and lead by example or whatever, if that's what you want to do. And lead by example of your performance. But let's be fair, Kurt Zouma ain't even doing that at the moment. I do think you need a big personality. I do think as captain, you're like the on-field manager. A manager that can't vocalise and verbalise his instructions, that's a bit weird. And also you need to have the confidence to carry them on. I hear Zouma is that, well, they call him happy, don't they? I hear he's a happy, cheerful guy in the dressing room. That's brilliant. But that doesn't necessarily make the best captain. It makes the best chum. It may make your best pal in the dressing room, but not necessarily the best captain. Best captain's got to be a bit ruthless, I think, and show very clear leadership qualities. I'm with that. Anyway, I've waffled on. Tim Steidten, we've heard for him. He's basically saying, I got him. I've been following him a long time. Me and him, we're like that. Me and Edson. Saw off Borussia Dortmund as well. I know what I'm doing. I'm the guy. Oh, by the way, he's going to be West Ham's next captain. That's what I'm hearing from Tim Steidten. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll catch up with you later.